Plus Sports Special on a Saturday. Welcome on the show. My name is Wally Scott, and too much drama behind the scene and on the scene on the show today. Mukail, wow.
Finesse.
Nigeria makes a strange request. Come on.
It's the nature of our...
I wanted to read this story, but let me just run through it so we can just talk about it. The Nigeria Football Federation has made a strange request to the Ghanaian Football Association ahead of the World Cup playoffs between both rivals. Now, according to a foremost Ghanaian sports journalist, Nuhu Adams, the NFF made a request to have 10,000 tickets ahead of the first leg clash against Ghana, set to be hosted at the Cape Coast Stadium. Now, the stadium, according to the report, has a maximum capacity of 15,000 people. Let's start with the fact that I've got Dele Oshodi Glover via Zoom all the way from London to discuss this. Dele, welcome on the show.
Yeah, nice to be on the program. How's everyone doing over there?
Well, good. How's London?
Weather is good. Everything is calm. What can we do? What can we say? It is what it is.
Now, Dele, Nigeria makes a strange request. We'll come to other technical issues later. But the request says they want 10,000 tickets for the match. That's not the issue. The issue is that the stadium has a 15,000 capacity stadium for people, for spectators, which means that you are giving Ghana 5,000 tickets for a 15,000 capacity stadium in their own country. What has that got to do with anything? Why are they trying to control the crowd?
My fellow Nigerians, we always stand out in everything we do. But they say the fans, the spectators are always the 13th people on the field. Some people make that excuse. But I think this match is between 11 players, 11 against 11. So whether the stadium is filled with capacity of just Ghanaians, it makes no difference. If the Nigerian side is better than the Ghanaian side, I see no reason why either team should bother, why the Nigerians are bothered or why the Ghanaians are bothered. But hey, let's face reality. Would we have a stadium in our country where it's, say, 10,000 capacity, and we're playing against Ghana, and then Ghana insists on having 8,000 out of the 10,000? You know that we won't agree. So why do we want to go and do that over there? At the end of the day, it's a match between two prominent powers in Africa, football buddies, Ghana and Nigeria. We understand that the likes of Echo just might make it to the team for this match. So we should be looking at what's going to happen on the field. We should be looking at life after the African Cup of Nations with Austin Eguavoen at the helm of affairs. Will these players blend eventually? Because some people were of the opinion that he didn't have enough time to establish chemistry between the players that were in that team. This is another platform for him to show what he's capable of doing as the coach of the team. So let's not bother ourselves about off-the-field matters. What happens in the stands really doesn't matter. Let's talk about what's going to happen on the field of play. Do we have 11, 15 players that can make the Super Eagles what they used to be, back to the glory days?
Now, Mukail, I'll come to you on this one. The Super Eagles have a technically sound team. Professionals all the way. And then the gist is that they're trying to buy the crowd. They're trying to control the crowd. What will the boos and the chants do to our professionals when they're playing football? It shouldn't affect anything, really.
I mean, it does. We cannot ignore...
Come on.
We cannot ignore that...
Do you think if someone upsets me on my way into the studio now, it would show on my face and in my voice?
I mean, you're professional. And
they are professionals too.
And to be fair, what we do here is not a contact sport. And what they do over there, they have to deal with the contact they take against players on the field of play, as well as the verbal assaults that could devolve into actual physical assaults with bottles and all sorts of things being thrown from the crowd. At the same time, we cannot say that the boos and the chants will not have an impact. The Old Trafford can be very all-consuming in the atmosphere that the fans can create.
Man City is worse.
Man City is worse. I can't remember right now the stadium, Dortmund Stadium.
Borussia Dortmund. Yeah.
It can get so loud that players don't even hear the whistle. And that used to lead to issues when the referee blows the whistle for the play to stop, and the player keeps playing and then gets a yellow card after. So it does matter. But at the end of the day, I think this request is just mind games. I think this is just foreplay before the initial.
Now, Dele, let's go a little more technical on this issue. A little bit more technical. Now, the Super Eagles have gotten their acts together. People are complaining about the choice of players that Guavon has called up to the game. And we heard Ghana is going to be playing, bringing in an ex-Barcelona player. Ayu is going to be in the team. Thomas Partey of Arsenal is going to be in the team. And they are saying this team is good to go too. Don't let Nigeria get complacent. We're not as fantastic as we think we are. But Guavon is calling players that play in the third division in their clubs, who have only played 3 times or 4 times this year, calling players like Ogenye or Nazi. And we're getting scared, like Ghana is getting their acts together. They are really giving up for this one. And we are just not calling the right players. So Nigerians say, Dile.
Every coach have their choices, have their favorites. I know coaches who would come and invite Mikel Obi back into the fold as we speak. I know people who come and invite Emmanuel Emenike back into the fold. They are their favorites, whether you like it or not. In 2013, when the late Stephen Keshi invited 5 home-based players and some random players, nobody gave him a chance. Nobody thought it would work, but it worked for him. Let this coach do whatever he wants to do. If he's inviting people who haven't played football this year, all well and good. If he succeeds, no one will talk. If he fails, we will complain. Let him be. Let him do his job. You don't know what he's saying in the team. You don't know if he's inviting those people for their leadership qualities. For instance, Ogenye Nazi used to be the captain of the team, was the vice captain of the team, rather, at the point in time, was also the captain, and he has leadership qualities that might be useful to the team. So I don't think we should, call foul, cry foul right now, or start complaining. Let the man do his job. That's the problem with we Nigerians. We keep complaining. Leave this man to do his job. Senegal won the African Cup of Nations because that team has been together for 6 years. 6 years. Nobody interrupted. Nobody got involved with what Cisse was doing with the team. And then they won after 6 years. I must say, where did Senegal come from? They succeeded because they let them do their jobs. Let Austin Eguavoen do his job for now, please.
Now, Mukael, somebody said, a coach that I used to know, he said that all the players that Eguavoen called for this Ghana match are all very physical players. And that most of the other players we are complaining he didn't call are less physical and actually ply their trade abroad. And Eguavoen is looking at the fact that, listen, we're playing against Ghana. It's a World Cup qualifier. It's an African team. I need to call the players who I know are physical enough. Even if we don't win, we don't lose badly. They can't just push you off
the beauty of a national team coach's position is that while a club manager has 25 players, maybe 30, 35 players, depending on how many players he's willing to call up from the youth team. The national team manager, in order to form his 25 that he's going to take into any tournament, he knows that he can choose from everywhere, from all across the world, depending on where the national team players are applying. Even players who have not gotten a single cap yet can be called upon. And every manager, especially the good ones, take into account not just the tactical setup, not just the technical needs, but also the, shall we say, physical requirements of playing a certain kind of opposition. I used to complain that Wenger could not do well in the modern age of football because he did not take into account the strengths and weaknesses of his opposition. And oftentimes, once they got into a match, he had no plan B. Eguavoen here has taken into account the fact that Ghana is a very physical side. If we're going up against Egypt or any of the other North African teams, he would be looking to bring in more technical players who might be smaller, less physical, And that would be the way to go. And anything less than that would mean that he wasn't taking them seriously as a technical side. This is a physical side. He's taking them very seriously. And he's right. He's right. We do complain so much. When the manager is doing one thing, we say he ought not to be doing it, or the manager isn't right for the job. Someone else gets brought in.
So you agree with Daly on this one that let's just leave this guy to do his job?
Absolutely. There's this saying. Remember the match where Mark Noble was brought on to take a penalty?
Yeah.
If it had worked, Moyes would be deemed a genius.
Yeah, true that. True that.
It did not work, so criticism followed. That's the life of a manager, and that's what he signs up for. We let him do what he wants to do, and then we judge the consequences after.
It's football. It's an emotional game. Okay, let's hope that, like Mikhail said, it's just a gimmick by the NFF to try to bamboozle. The English Premier League, I think I have the fixtures somewhere there. And of course, Dele, I will start with you. On my show last week, or this week, I had Jurgen Klopp, your coach. You're a big Liverpool, you're a big Red fan. And of course, I had Jurgen Klopp who said he hopes complacency doesn't set in against Inter Milan. It did set in. Yes, the woodwork helped out a lot, but of course it didn't work. It did work eventually. Mo Salah hit the woodwork twice. I think Luis hit it twice too. But all in all, they didn't win that game, 1-0, but they still qualified. Dele, can complacency set in with Liverpool against Brighton, who are a very stubborn team to break down?
Talking about the English Premier League, the last 5 matches, Liverpool have recorded 5 victories. Brighton haven't done so well in their last 5 matches. Let's face reality, Liverpool have it all to play for. Is their league to lose as it stands. If they win all their matches, they'll be level on points with Man City. Playing Brighton home or away really doesn't matter. They've beaten Brighton already this season. I'm confident they'll beat them again. Jurgen Klopp has the full luxury of his team. Everyone is back playing, firing on all cylinders. So he really has no excuse but to record all necessary 3 points today. And let's face reality. Majority of the people who watch the English Premier League want Liverpool to win this match so that the battle for the title will be more interesting. If they lose against Brighton, my brother, all well and done. It's over to Man City.
Okay, I'll come to you on this because I have to come to Chelsea with him. Manchester United, Rangnick will take on Conte against Tottenham, but they are at Old Trafford.
Wally, I'm smiling this morning because I've listened to interviews of Conte. I've read some articles about Conte as well. I've just heard different opinions about Antonio Conte. Conte has once again said that he's committed to Tottenham. He's going to be with Tottenham next season, but he also wants the Tottenham board to be committed to him. Now, let's leave all that. Talk about the field. Manchester United are like the British weather. You cannot predict the British weather. Manchester United play well today. They play horribly tomorrow. The third day, they don't show up. Manchester United, you ask me, I won't put my smart money on Manchester United. Tottenham, for me, yes. Tottenham also blow hot, blow cold, but Tottenham stand a better chance against Manchester United. Manchester United do not have their acts right now. Manchester United used to impose a fear factor in everybody they played at a point in time. It's dead and buried right now. I don't know what's wrong with Manchester United. People are complaining about the coaches, training methods and all whatnot. The players are not playing for him. I still ask myself why the likes of Harry Maguire is still playing for Manchester United. He has no business in Manchester United. There are lots of players that shouldn't be wearing that jersey of Manchester United. I watched Roy Keane the other day where he was venting. He was saying so much, and the likes of Micah Richards were laughing at him. But the man was speaking the truth. These people do not know what it takes to put on the red and white of Manchester United. If Manchester United were playing against Real Madrid at a point in time, my brother, you cannot put your money on Real Madrid. It was that serious. Manchester United was a force to reckon with back in the olden days. But hey, Tottenham against Manchester United, you ask me, 5 o'clock today or 5:30? I'll put my smart money on Tottenham.
Yeah, 5:30 your time, 6:30 our time.
I'll go with Tottenham.
Tottenham. What would you say? We're looking at Manchester United, who Rangnick has finally conceded to the fans and said, okay, good, I'm going to have a two-pronged attack, Ronaldo and Edison Cavani. I'm going to have Bruno Fernandes, Pogba, and Scott McTominay in midfield. Fred somewhere in the mix. But basically, it's the attack we're talking about. Jadon Sancho, definitely it. He's been the best player for Man United in the last 3 matches. So Jadon Sancho somewhere in the mix up front. Edison Cavani, Ronaldo, maybe Rashford. Definitely no missing Greenwood. But what do you think?
The greatest moments in Manchester United history, the squad was always balanced. Unfortunately, at this time, given all of the missteps
In the last
by
4
the
years.
board, all the way from the moment Sir Alex Ferguson decided to retire, it has been a mismatch of managers having very little control over the shape of the squad. Sure, each manager got to bring in a few players, but the long-term goal of the team was never in their hands. And even if you do not agree that Moyes was the right fit for the job, it seemed like from the moment his first purchase went the wrong way, it went left.
Okay, let's continue to look at the fixtures right now, because I have to come to you. You're a Chelsea fan, big Chelsea fan. So we're looking at the fixtures still, and it's going to be Chelsea against Newcastle United, who are doing a major rebuild. If you overlook Newcastle right now, it's at your own peril.
Yes.
And they have the money to spend.
Newcastle do not just have the money to spend. In the last 5 games, they've played very well. They've accrued enough points now to be out of the bottom 3. They're 10 points clear. And they won their last match just recently. So, of course, they're on the high. They feel confident. Chelsea, on the other hand, are going through some touchy spot. But that situation might be resolved very soon, because the British government
That's a topic for later, so let's just stick to the match.
All right.
Really.
So the match, I believe, given how focused the team has been able to stay in playing against Norwich, and we know historically teams in the bottom 3 can pose hiccups.
True.
They're stumbling blocks for even the strongest teams, and the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool could suffer defeats to any of those teams going forward.
Now, Dele, don't let's discuss the Chelsea issue yet. We're doing that in a bit. But let's look at the fact that Newcastle could just give Chelsea a run for their money today.
Fears no fall. Newcastle were in a very, very dire situation a few matches ago, but now they're back to winning ways. I wouldn't have given Newcastle a chance at the beginning of the season, but my brother, with money, you know what money can do in football. They've been able to acquire the services of certain players, not top-notch players, but players who can get the job done, players who can take them to safety. Newcastle have won, the last 2-3 matches? I've lost my stats right now, but Newcastle are on a roll, as to speak. Chelsea are also on a roll. You can't take it away from them. And owing to what's happening off the field, it's also affecting them. But hey, they played against Norwich the other day. They thrashed Norwich 3-1. That didn't come as a surprise to me. The only thing that has come as a surprise to me is that if you spend 90 million on a striker, you expect him to score goals week in, week out. So it's going to be tough for Newcastle, if you ask me, because Chelsea have it all to play for. Chelsea will want to win because of off-the-field issues. And one thing, so sure, it's going to be a very, very interesting match. Let's see how it goes.
Before we discuss Chelsea extensively, quickly, Dele, Arsenal against Leicester City.
Arsenal against Leicester City. Without any form of bias, I think I'm impressed with the way Arsenal have risen to the occasion. Wally, you know our history with people who support Arsenal.
Yeah,
I watch them and I laugh and I'm like, these guys are actually getting results. That's nice. It's good to see Arsenal get back to winning ways. The likes of Bukayo Saka have, made a name for themselves. I say, like I said, come back like, old wine, which keeps getting better and better over time. And whether you like it or not, Arsenal, slow and steady, are getting there. Arsenal is what? 4th on the table now. Who saw them overtaking Manchester United a while ago? But hey, Arsenal against Leicester City. For me, I'll give it to Arsenal. Leicester haven't been so good. They blow hot, they blow cold. Kelechi Iheanacho is nowhere to be found. Patson Daka has rightly dumped him out of the team. Vardy is back to scoring ways for Leicester City. Tielemans is also back. But hey, do they have the firepower that Arsenal have? I don't think so. I think Arsenal will take them to the cleanest.
Now, Arsenal against Leicester. Now, he spoke about Tielemans back, Vardy coming back to winning ways, Kelechi Iheanacho always on the prowl. But Arsenal, they've got Lacazette, like I said, like old wine is back.
Yes.
And you've got Bukayo Saka, who is always a problem for any defense. But you've got Smith Rowe, who is like an assassin. You don't see him coming.
He's the highest goal scorer for the team right now. And slow and steady has really gotten them to a position where they could win the race for top 4. The situation with Lacazette, I think that forward line has been freed up from the burden of knowing that a huge ego like Aubameyang was in the dressing room, who wasn't playing and was putting strain on them when they had to play, when they knew that them not playing well meant that there were no other options. And I think that has freed them up now that he's gone. Arsenal do have enough firepower. I think Arteta is demonstrating the tactical discipline in the team, and they're doing well. Partey is back to doing very well. But Leicester City have a history of revving up when they go up against the likes of Manchester City, the likes of Manchester United, likes of Arsenal, can suffer in their hands. Now, smart money is on Arsenal because they're on a roll, and Leicester are hot and cold, but that will be an interesting game to watch.
Let's face the matter at hand. Now, Chelsea manager Thomas Tuchel said he trusted the British government to find a solution for Chelsea's operations to return to normal by the end of the season after sanctions imposed on their Russian owner, Roman Abramovich, left the club in limbo. Abramovich, who had been under scrutiny following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, announced he was selling the West London club last week. But that sale is now on hold, with Chelsea operating under a special government license. The last round of Premier League's fixtures is on May 22nd, with the transfer window set to reopen in June, with Chelsea's main shirt sponsor, Mobile Network 3, asking the club to remove its logo and suspending its relationship. Tuchel said the players could wear a message for peace on the team's shirt instead. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp, meanwhile, on Friday, said the British government was right to impose sanctions on Abramovich, but the Premier League club's employees should not have to suffer for it. Dele, Jurgen Klopp, your coach, your club coach, says that he doesn't mind Roman Abramovich being sanctioned. He doesn't mind that. That what he minds is football should not be involved. Football should not suffer for anything political. And Dele, it upsets people like you and I when sports has to suffer for political decisions made up there. You know, really.
Well, you can't take away the fact that politics is a part of football, or football is a part of politics. What this has done is that it brings a cloud of uncertainty on football in general and on Chelsea in particular. It's sad because whether we like it or not, Roman Abramovich gave Chelsea a different look. When he decided to take over everything concerning Chelsea in 2003, that man invested, what, £2 billion in the first 10 years. No club did that. Chelsea, between 2003 and now, are one of the most successful English clubs, if not the most successful. He invested so much money in that team, and Chelsea became what they became. They won everything there was to win in football. It's sad because what this has done is that we understand that before the English government decided to give them a freeway till next week, Tuesday, where they can take first bids for the sale of the club, it was only season ticket holders who could get into the stadium. It means that no business could be done, anything concerning Chelsea. It means that extension of player contract was totally off. They couldn't acquire new services of players, forget about buying people. Hospitality dropped to its barest minimum. It means that, like in the interview, like what he said, some people will lose their jobs, or some people have lost their jobs. Merchandising is out of the question. They can't sell anything concerning Liverpool. They've lost their sponsors. We understand that three have said the £40 million deal they have should be suspended. Now, we have other marketers, like I can't mention their names, you know why, who also want to pull out from anything concerning Chelsea now. Excuse me, it's not Chelsea's fault. It's not Chelsea's fault, but it is what it is. Everybody is trying to see the best way to get to Vladimir Putin. We know that Roman Abramovich and Putin are best of friends, but we're not here to talk about that. I think it's just a way of punishing Putin at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, most people are going to suffer. It goes beyond Putin. It goes beyond Roman Abramovich. You take away Chelsea from Roman Abramovich, it will not affect him. This man bought this club out of boredom. In 2003, Chelsea was in debt. This man sealed the deal in less than 15 minutes. How much are you people owing? He paid off the debt and bought everything concerning Chelsea. So you take away Chelsea from Roman, it won't affect him. But I guess there's light at the end of the tunnel. Next week, Tuesday, we see what happens. Or rather, early next week, we see what happens. I don't think they'll go into administration. I think all will be good. But what we understand, or what we made to understand this morning, is that they would have to write off a £1.5 billion proceed. It means that Roman Abramovich won't get anything. And if you ask me, this Russian billionaire doesn't need the money.
Okay, now, Mukail, you are a Chelsea fan. And, you know, in Nigeria, there are some things that when you stress somebody for a long time, you're like, who could just kill me? Your wallet is too much, you know. You tell someone he can't sell tickets, he can't sell their merchandise, he can't buy players, he can't sell players. The only money he will make is the money that the food and the drinks that the spectators come to buy. Who could just kill him now? What's the point?
Well,
really?
Regardless, I've always felt that no matter what happens with the Roman Abramovich sanctions, Chelsea Football Club will be fine. There's obviously plenty of interest all over the place. The issue about whether the sanctions would prevent or the status quo as of yesterday that the sanctions would prevent the sale of Chelsea Football Club is no longer the case, because the British government have a duty of care to the football club. It's an institution that has existed long before Roman Abramovich, and to allow it to crumble into nothingness after Roman Abramovich would be irresponsible, especially since there's so many people who their livelihoods depend on the club. I think that has been the reason why the decision has been made that an agreement could be reached with Abramovich, which would allow the sale of the club, but he wouldn't, as long as he can't make any money off of it. Now, I suspect he still will make some money out of it. It just will not be profits. It will not be significant enough to make a difference into going into the coffers of Vladimir Putin to fund his war. But I think an agreement beyond just the question of the £1.5 billion that the club currently owe him in loans being forgoed by him, I think other than that, there will still be some money that goes to him just on the basis of through some means, because money like this often goes through charitable organizations and ends up laundered into eventually.
Dele Oshodi Global, I want to thank you very much for joining us today on the show, Plus Sports Special. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Wale.
Now, Haas returnee Kevin Magnussen went the fastest on the second day of the Bahrain Formula One pre-season test, pushing Ferrari's Carlos Sainz off the top of the timesheet during extra running after the official end of track action. It's the Bahrain Formula One just testing, but the big boys have not come to the party yet. You know, Sebastian Vettel is not in the party yet. Lewis Hamilton is not in the party yet. So we're hearing names like Magnussen. Who is that? But the boys, the big boys, have not come to the party yet.
Yes. Obviously, the season requires a lot of prep work, and everyone is doing it at their own pace. When the real season begins, we'll see the big boys put in the maximum effort, and that's when the grueling tests and practice will come to bear, and by then we'll see something worth seeing. This was just
we'll know what to expect.
Yes.
Now, in Nigeria, Mukail, I just had to mention this. Might sound a little mischievous though, but I just have to mention it. The able-bodied Olympians who go for Nigeria, Team Nigeria, for the Olympics, never make us really proud. Say 1 medal, 2 medals, and they're back home. But the Paralympians always tend to make us proud. You are sure that if the Paralympians go for their Paralympic Games, if it's not winter, because we don't have winter here, but if it's the Paralympic Games that our Nigerians are involved, you are sure of at least 10 medals.
Yes, and many of it gold. They represent us
Many of it
very
gold.
well.
But
very well.
when it's time to dole out money, when it's time to fund and take care of those people, they are training and all that, it's always the able-bodied who don't bring medals home. The Paralympians are practically abandoned.
Well, the able-bodied who represent us on multiple sports and levels. Not just at the Olympics, they go to World Championships. There are more avenues to make money off
Most
of them.
of this World Championship is basically because of them getting their ratings high. It's
Yes,
not about Nigeria, really.
But at the same time, a lot of these things do have a cumulative financial impact on the coffers of the organizations that manage them. And that means that there's more commitment on the parts of just the individuals that are in position to organize tests and meets and World Championship travels. With the Paralympians, we only do hear about them when the Paralympics are around. There aren't that many opportunities for them to go for
opens and meets and all that, yeah.
Exactly. So the fact that they are not benefiting as much, I suppose the question you have to ask yourself is, stacking the value of gold medals at the Paralympics against all of the other Olympic appearances, World Championship appearances, meets, opens, do the values stack up in the eyes of those who are managing these respective organizations, the able-bodied and Paralympic athletes?
Okay, well, on a lighter note, in the Winter Olympics, the Beijing Olympics, Paralympic great Oksana Masters secured another gold medal at Beijing 2022, seeing off a fellow American Kendall Gresh to win the individual sitting biathlon. Now, Masters, she's actually 32, won her 15th medal as a Paralympian, having starred at the Tokyo Summer Games just 6 months ago. Her medal tally for Beijing is 2 golds and 2 silvers. Masters did make a mistake on the shooting range, incurring a minute penalty, but still had enough to hold off Gresh, with Shan Yin of China third. The men's event was won by Liu Mengtao. In the vision-impaired women's giant slalom, Austria's Veronika Eigner finished first, and her sister Barbara was third. China's Zhu Daqin splitting them. America's Berina Huckabee won the women's banked slalom snowboarding competition, her third Paralympic gold. The men's race was won by China's Sun Kui. I have little or no time, but quickly, I intend to leave with Andy Murray. So let's look at Steph Curry as he hits another milestone as the Golden State Warriors beat the Denver Nuggets 113 to 102. Steph Curry, of course. Thank you, Mikhail. Good luck against Newcastle later, and of course, let's hope their money doesn't inspire them to make miracles.
Money can only do so much.
Yeah, I can agree with you. Thank you very much, Taro. He had the cameras. He's behind the scene. You can't see him, but he makes you see us, I can assure you. Thank you very much, Kay. Thank you very much, Coyote. Thank you very much, Kofi. Thank you very much, Dave. Polo. Thank you very much. You always have my back. And downstairs, the powerhouse, Piro. I'm leaving you with Andy Murray, who came from behind to beat Taro Daniel at the Indian Wells. Join us same time next week in Plus Sports Special. My name is Wally Scott. Like I always advise you at the end of every show, if not for anything, at least for your hearts, do some sports.